Okay, we're going to dive into something that is probably one of the most misunderstood, but also one of the most powerful concepts in our entire faith. And honestly, a single shift in how you see this one word can change absolutely everything. The idea is this: grace is not permission, it is power.
So does this sound familiar? I think for a lot of us it does. You find yourself in the spot where you know you're saved, you know your eternity is secure, but in your day-to-day life, you just feel weak.
Or maybe it's this. You know you're forgiven. You know your sins are washed away. But then pressure comes, right? Temptation hits. And suddenly you feel so fragile, like you could break at any moment.
And this is the big one. You truly believe that you are loved by God, but your actual experience is one of constant defeat. It's this cycle of trying really hard, failing, and then just feeling ashamed. And you know what? That is a super frustrating and just exhausting way to live.
So the question is, why? Why is there such a massive disconnect between the promises we read about and the reality we live in? Well, the answer, maybe surprisingly, comes down to how we understand a single word, grace.
See, for most of us, grace is basically a legal permission slip. It's like a heavenly pardon that covers our sin, which allows a holy God to kind of look the other way, to overlook our faults. But what if that's only half the story? What if that very view is the thing that's actually keeping us weak?
This right here. This is the whole shift. The common view sees grace as passive permission. God just ignores your weakness. But the biblical truth is that grace is active power. It's a spiritual energy that God gives you to directly address your weakness. You see the difference? It's not about ignoring the problem. It's about empowering the solution.
And look, this isn't just some new idea. It's been right here in the text all along. Just look at what Titus says. The grace of God teaches us. It's an active instructor. It's training us to say no to the very things that we struggle with. It empowers a self-controlled godly life. So grace isn't a permission slip for failure. It is the power plant for victory. What this means is we have to stop thinking about grace as something that just takes care of our future. It is a dynamic, available power for you right now, in this moment, to live the life God is calling you to. It's present tense.
Now, here's where it gets super practical. This divine power, this grace, it isn't just automatically downloaded into our lives. The Bible is really clear that grace responds to our posture. It can flow or it can be blocked.
And you know what the number one blocker of grace is? It's pride. And pride is sneaky. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it just whispers in these really spiritual-sounding phrases, doesn't it? Every single time we tell ourselves, I'm fine, or I got this, we are, in that moment, shutting the door on the very power that God is trying to give us.
So, what's the key that unlocks the door? It's humility. And humility isn't about feeling bad about yourself. No, it's simpler than that. It is the honest admission that you are weak and that you need help. That one moment of honest admission, that is the doorway through which the power of grace just comes flooding in.
So where does this power go? Well, it goes straight to the heart. Not to your circumstances, not to your reputation, to your heart. Because your heart is the command center, right? It's the place where the battle for obedience is either won or lost every single day.
So what does this actually look like? Well, when your heart is strengthened by grace, you aren't just fighting temptation with your own willpower anymore. You are internally reinforced against it. You don't just barely survive the pressures of life, you actually stand firm. I mean, this is a completely different way of living.
And let's be totally clear, you desperately need this internal strength. The spiritual environment of this world, it's not neutral. From the moment you wake up, you are breathing air that is filled with resistance to the things of God. Your own flesh is pushing you towards comfort and compromise. Grace is the necessary counterpressure.
This brings us to a really important distinction between two amazing gifts from God, mercy and grace. Think about it like this. Mercy is God working around you. He's the one who pulls you out of the mud. But grace is God working within you. That's the power that reinforces your heart and keeps you from running right back into that same mud pit. And you desperately need both.
So how do we actually receive this? Well, it's a pretty simple three-step process. First, just stop pretending. Humbly, honestly, admit your need. Step 2, come. Don't run away from God in your weakness, run to Him because of it. And third, receive and find. You will receive the mercy you need for all your past failures, and you will find the grace, the power to help you in your present need, right now.
So let's just leave it with this final, powerful thought. If you feel weak, if you feel fragile, If you feel defeated, the answer isn't to just try harder. The answer is to bow lower. Because grace is not something you earn with your strength. It is something you receive in your weakness. Grace always, always flows toward the heart that bows.